all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go. I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want to live ancient and fly to home, but if you want to travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the I found where my demons down. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up, climbing and climbing. I'm done with this ride. I just wanna tell myself so I can feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stood still. It came without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking good. You never made a sound.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Welcome back to Coast to Coast Hoops. Another great Sunday to wrap up our college basketball week. We have 10 games for you guys. Drop a like, a follow, and show your support. Today's show is brought to you by PickCity.com. Head over to PickCity.com to find your next bet. Every league, every game, they have you covered at PickCity.com. I'm your host, Adam Danis from Gogam Sports. And welcome my co-host, Skojo from Skojo Arizona Sports. What's going on, Skoj?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? How's it going, my man?
What's going on? Well, a little recap from yesterday. Obviously, another struggle in college basketball with COVID and people getting hurt, and just unfortunate with COVID canceling 45 games yesterday and shit more games today, and it's kind of taking the fun out of what we do in handicapping and looking at games and what we like, what we don't like, and obviously another struggle today. But we got, I think, 8 games for you guys today. We're gonna do a little recap yesterday. Obviously, our Furman VMI. Another just terrible second half by Furman, and I mean VMI just held the whole game, and that second half was just ugly for both teams. Just couldn't put one ball in the hoop.
Yeah, no, Furman. We even said it on the show yesterday that Furman is a second half team that struggles, and that trend continued yesterday. I did like VMI in the game. I thought they would win that game outright. They did. Furman, just no injuries or anything in that game. They just went dead in the second half. But looking at the games that I played yesterday, I wrote down because I went through all of them, and in the games that I personally was betting on, I had 13 plays were unexpectedly out due to COVID. 10 players were on the fence. I think 5 of those played, 5 of those were out. I've got a couple sites that I go to that I use for injury reports and stuff. The problem with COVID is a lot of these teams, and I know I'm an ASU guy, so I've got some people that I know there. They test the day of, so a lot of times they're not finding out 2-3 hours before the game. So a couple of the games I like today, I really like, but again, I'm waiting on hearing what's going on with players. So it's just like you said, it's kind of especially me being a high volume guy, the way I bet it affects a lot of the stuff that I do because I can't, for over 40 games canceled yesterday. So yeah, it's just it's really affecting. I'm going to have to make some adjustments here, at least for a while, until we can get past this this recent surge. So if we do get past it, this thing may linger until March. So hopefully not, but yeah, I'm just going to have to make a few adjustments here and there.
Yep. Obviously, you got to adjust to what's going on in the league. Can't really do much about it. I mean, you can complain about all you want, but again, it's not going to change if we complain about it. So we just got to adjust and move on. Another disappointing game yesterday. Virginia beat Syracuse basically from the start. They got off to that 7-point lead early, and then just never really gave the lead after that. Virginia, man, I've never seen a Virginia team in my 4 years of watching them really in depth. They went on a 6-minute streak the last 6 minutes of the game where they missed one field goal attempt.
Yeah, and you can look at that two ways. I mean, is Virginia just playing over their head, or is Syracuse not that good on defense? And probably a combination of both. And with Syracuse, Syracuse is one of those teams I have a note on that I love playing Syracuse as a dog, and I hate playing them as a favorite. They seem to, when they're not favored, they seem to play up, and when they're favored, they always seem to play down. Just seems to be the trend with those guys. But Virginia played a lot of points scored in that game, which is shocking for a Virginia team. But like you said, they didn't miss. They shot a ridiculous percentage. Yeah. So
I think Virginia's mindset coming into that game was like, we have to score points to win this game. And obviously they have a good coach, and he got them prepared for that environment and that fucking 3-2 zone, which I'm just getting so sick of watching. Like, Jimmy, it's not
going to change. It's not going to change.
Just stop. Man to man, dude. You're not 3-2 defenses against a team who is going to beat you in the paint. They're not going to beat you on the outside. Like, they threw the ball in the middle of the free throw line 60 times that game. They scored 60 times when they did that. Like, They threw the ball the last 6 minutes every time to the guy in the middle. What do they do? Shoot a wide open free throw jump shot and bang. Every single time. It's just like, dude, you have to adjust to the era of basketball, and he's just not going to do it. So I texted you, Jimmy, you got to change up, and he won't. But hey, he's got a championship. I don't. So next game, again, another line just doesn't make sense. You got this one, Toledo, Kent State.
Yep. Nope. Missed free throws. I had 2 games yesterday that I was on that, it's part of the handicapping, but Toledo was a pretty good free throw shooting team. They miss a late free throw there to tie the game, maybe send the game into overtime. They miss it, then they have to foul. Kent State hits 2 free throws, and the cover is blown there. Same thing in the Western Kentucky game. I had Western Kentucky plus 5.5, which covered, but they missed 5-6 free throws in the last minute and a half. Same thing, and they don't cover that game. So it's just part of it. You got to take the good with the bad. So,
yep. Next game, Villanova. I was afraid of this game from the start because I just thought Villanova's got to pick up at some point in their season. Like, they have to have some type of good win, and it was a great game. Seton Hall just down the stretch just couldn't handle Villanova. Outcoached, outplayed. I think Jay Wright coached a pretty good game, adjusting to the bigger team that they played today. I wouldn't say too much of an impressive win by Villanova because they didn't play great, but an impressive win in the standpoint that they went into Seton Hall, and they won the game how they should. And it was a dirty game, and it was ugly towards the end, and free throw shooting came into play, but Seton Hall just couldn't get that one basket towards the end to cover or win the game.
Yeah, the Big East and the Big 12 are going to be fun conferences to watch this year. I mean, I think Baylor is, I think, the class of the field in the Big 12, and then Kansas is right there, but there's a lot of good teams in the Big 12. Baylor's not going undefeated. They'll lose a couple in the Big 12 this year, and the Big East is just, there's not a lot of drop off from top to the 7th team. I mean, any of those teams could win it. So those are going to be 2 fun leagues to watch this year.
Yeah, because you got to think, like, if everyone stays healthy, and right now it's just impossible. But even like a St. John's team, they can stick with anybody if they put up points. They're towards the bottom of the Big East. You got UConn still there too. I mean, Creighton just had a big win against Marquette, and Marquette's still a good squad too. So Big East pretty stacked this year. Probably the best conference right now in college basketball. UAB, your favorite game yesterday, smacks UTSA at home. UAB just another UAB playing UAB basketball at home.
Yep. Yeah, nothing much to say about this game. This was my favorite game yesterday, and going back, I probably should have just taken everything I played and thrown it on this game. I mean, I didn't see how UAB wasn't going to cover this game. Just dominate on both ends of the floor, better than UTSA on both ends of the floor, and they pretty much had this game covered after about the. I think they jumped out early. I don't think they had it covered at halftime, but I mean, about 5 minutes into halftime, they pushed it to 30, and it stayed right around that number the rest of the way.
Did your second half system come into play yesterday?
No, because I looked at the second half play, but they were favored by 9, which would have put it over the number.
Yep.
And anytime it goes over the number, I don't play it. So
gotcha. Providence, like we said, my favorite game. I think you're one of your favorites yesterday too. Another one we should have just hammered because we knew it was going to happen. They were up 41-17 at half, I think the score was. Providence, I mean, just exposing DePaul and DePaul exposing themselves now. I mean, this DePaul team, every year we feel like they beat up non-conference games, and everyone looks at their record as, 10-1, 11-1. They're not that good. They're especially against this Big East talent. They can't hang. I don't think. They're gonna have a struggle in the Big East. It's really turnovers for them. I think they had 22 turnovers two games ago. And they had 20 or more yesterday. So Providence playing really well lately.
Providence is one of the scary teams in the East, man. I mean, they're one of those 7. They play incredible defense, and they're going to be in every game.
Coastal, 5th loss their last 30 home games yesterday. Again, just got off to a slow start, like we said they would. We said they'd get off to a slow start in the first 5 minutes, but the LA Lafayette team just kept on the whole game. Coastal Carolina down 8 at half. They go up by 2 early in the second half, and then just couldn't get into a rhythm, couldn't get into a scoring rhythm to really push that game over towards them. End up losing late off a missed free throw, and then LA comes down and bangs a 3. So they lose by 1 first. They're dominant at home. What can I say? That they're going to lose games, but kind of a surprising loss for me with them at home.
Yeah, their defense let them down. Their defense let them down the whole game. I mean, they wide open shots all day for Lafayette. So just a bad defensive game for Coastal.
And like we said, we talked about fans, and then they have a great fan base. Nobody was there, and unfortunately, I should have looked at that before the game, but nobody was there.
All the students are gone.
Yeah,
all the students are out of town. Yeah.
So, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games for you guys today. We're gonna give our 2 favorite games of the day, Scoj and I. We'll hop right into it. So, first game, talk about COVID. Michigan State -2 at Northwestern, over under sitting at 139.5. Scoj, take it away.
Yeah. I mean, I like Michigan State at this number, but again, they were missing 3 guys. Christie, Bingham, and Brooks were out with COVID. I know they're all probable today, but there's no word whether they're playing or not. So I'm actually going to hold on to this bet. If those guys are playing, I'm sure that this number will probably jump a little bit. But if they are playing, then I like Michigan State all the way up to -4, -5. I know a lot of money's coming in on Northwestern. Northwestern didn't play they haven't played a Division I team in their last, I don't even know how long. They're good. I mean, they gave Providence a good game. They beat Georgia, which, Georgia's really no good. But this Michigan State team, I think, is the best team in the Big Ten. And I know Purdue, Purdue, everybody's thinking Purdue's the top 10, but I like this Michigan State team. I really do. I think they're gonna make a lot of noise in the tournament this year. Izzo just gets this team better and better and better. So I've got a future on Michigan State to reach the Final Four. So I really like this Michigan State team. If they got these 3 guys, I think they win this game pretty easy. But there is no word. I know they're all probable, but who knows if they clear protocol or not. But I am going to take Michigan State -2. Without those guys, it could be a trap game. I understand that, but I really like this Michigan State team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Michigan State's playing. This is what happens. We all know they start off slow with Izzo because the players have to adjust to Izzo's style, right? He's in your face. He's tough. He's hard-nosed. You have to adjust to how his coaching style is. Now later on in the season, they all get tough. They learn what he wants, and they start playing his way of basketball, which is what they're doing right now. It's just like this line. Just I love Michigan State, of course, at -2 just about every game. Just make sure you guys look at the injuries before you place a bet here. I know the game starts at 12 p.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern time, so you got some time to do some research and make sure you guys are betting on the right team, meaning Michigan State's team. But yeah, if they're fully healthy, Michigan State all the way up to I'd say -6 would be a good play here. Next game, UNC travels to BC. UNC giving BC 7.5 on the road. Over under sitting at 139. I like the under here. I think UNC should handle this team pretty well. Both teams at the bottom of the ACC this year and hitting the total. UNC is 7-5 to the under. BC 6-4-1 to the under in the game so far. UNC as a favorite. They're 6-2 to the under, not allowing 70 points in their last 2 games. And BC 4-2-1 at home to the under, and have only scored 70 in 2 of their last 8. I see maybe a 70-60 type of game, a 70-62. And it puts it a little towards the under. So, like I said, UNC should take care of this game. They should keep the pace going to what they want to play, and handle this BC team today.
Yeah, Boston College just struggles offensively right now. They're not just not that good. I don't have a play on this game at all. I mean, I do like UNC in the game. I think they will control the pace of the game, and they are playing, pretty good on the defensive side. But Boston College just can't score, so I don't think you're going to get a close game here. So if you're not going to have a close game, the under always comes into play. And so yeah, I would lean under here. I have no play, but I think the game sets up well for that play.
Yeah. And like I said, if UNC blows them out by 20, I mean, and the total hits like 140, I mean, what can you do? But I don't think UNC is playing that well offensively to really blow teams out by 15 plus just about right now. But the problem with BC is, like I said, they just can't score the ball. And you said the same thing. They just have trouble scoring against a big opponent in UNC. Next game, Indiana travels to Penn State. Indiana -3.5 point favorite. Over on the sitting at 129.5.
Yeah, I like this Indiana team. I mean, on the road, Penn State is a good home team, but I think Indiana they have a really big advantage inside here. I think they're going to control this game. I like them, to win by at least 5+ here. They're 7-1. Indiana 7-1 in their against the spread in their last 8 Sunday games, and Penn State's I think is like 1-5-1 in their last 6 against the spread. So. I think this game sets up well for Indiana. It'll probably be close. It's going to be one of those games that, even Penn State might even be leading by a little bit at halftime. But I think ultimately Indiana's got the better, deeper squad, and they'll pull away in the second half and get this cover. I like Indiana by about 5 or 6 here.
Yeah. Penn State, like you said, usually a pretty good home team. Past couple of years, this season, not so much. I looked at this game too. Penn State's 1-5 at home against the spread. 1-4 as a favorite against the spread. I think Indiana rolls today. I'd say an easy 10-point victory for them today. Indiana, just a better squad. They come in as the favorite, obviously, but I think overall just a more complete team on offense too. Penn State doesn't really have a go-to guy for them on offense, so I think Indiana takes care of business today easily. Dartmouth at Cornell. Cornell, probably I'd say top 2 team in the Ivy League this year. They're 8-1 against the spread so far. 3-0 against the spread at home. 5-0 straight up at home. Dartmouth is 2-6 away from home this year, and they've lost 7 straight. Obviously, Cornell just played Syracuse pretty tough at Syracuse. They held with them. Syracuse put up close to 90 points, and Cornell still covered that game by a good amount. So I think Cornell takes care of business at home today against this Dartmouth team who's lost 7 straight coming into today. So I think 4.5 is pretty easy cover. I see a 10-point victory by Cornell. I think the first half could be close since it's a rivalry game, but I think Cornell pulls it out late. I also like the total to go under today, just because I think Cornell in the second half takes control of the game. I see like a 75-45 win here. 75-65 win here. I think Cornell wins by easy double digits.
Yeah, the Ivy League is one of the leagues that I usually stay away from. I never really get a good feel for Ivy League basketball. I was on Cornell against Syracuse. I thought 15.5 was too much for Syracuse there. And I thought Cornell could score the basketball because they're a good outside shooting team. So I was on Cornell there. I actually dabbled in the money line on Cornell in that game, just thinking maybe they could pull an upset there. But when it comes to Ivy League play, it's one of those leagues that I really just don't look at, especially when they're playing interdivision. So I'm going to trust you on this. I'm not going to play this game, but I know Dartmouth they went on a long road trip out west, and I don't think they won any of those games, but they played a lot of those teams tough. So Ivy League, like I said, just a league that I don't pay a lot of attention to, and I don't handicap. So like I said, I was on Cornell, but I don't have a lot in an Ivy League game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Your game today, obviously your team, Arizona State, travels to Cali today. It's 2-point dogs. Over under sitting at a small 126.
Yeah, Arizona State, they've been known as guard U, but that was when they had Cody and Shannon and Trey, and they were just launching threes and scoring a lot of points. Well, they're still guard U, but they're different now. They're they play defense. And on the road, they've been playing tight, close games. They beat Creighton by 1. They beat Oregon by 2 in overtime. They lost by 2 at San Diego State. It's a California team, not a great team, but they are playing well at home. I think this is going to be a tight game all the way through. I'm hoping for an Arizona State win here. I hope they pull out a close game late. But the play for me in this game is the under. Arizona State and California both just struggle to score the basketball. California plays at a slower pace. I think Arizona State's going to probably just go along for the ride right there. Arizona State, they go deep into the shot clock a lot. They're still really struggling without Bagley. Their spacing and stuff on offense. I don't know if Bagley's going to be back for this game. I haven't seen anything. I know they were holding him out. Bobby Hurley, he's got a local radio show. They talk about it all the time. They're expecting Bagley back at the beginning of the year, but I don't know if this is the game where he comes back. The other thing is we were supposed to play the LA schools this week. We're supposed to play USC and UCLA. So we found out on Thursday that, we knew last week that both of these games were going to be canceled. So that was no surprise. But on Thursday, we found out that ASU is going to go to California and play this game. It was originally scheduled for January 19th. So I know the Pac-12 is trying to make up as many games as they can. The Pac-12 said at the beginning of the year they were going to have this forfeit rule, but they've only forfeited one game, and that was UCLA Washington. So, I think this is going to be a close game. Hoping that ASU can pull it out, but I'm going to play the under here, 126. That's the play for me. I know it's going to be probably a close game, so unders usually give me some pause, but I think this game's going to be another Creighton game. I think it'll be in the high 50s, maybe low 60s. So you're going to get probably a 62-60, 60-58, 60-57 type game here. So I'm going to play the under in this game today.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona State, they've covered every game on the road so far this year. They've played some tough teams. They beat Creighton, like we said earlier. 3-0 against the spread on the road. This California team, like you said, played really just dog shit at home so far this year. So not really battle tested to face the Arizona State team. It was probably pretty hard on their horse after a big Creighton win and playing solid basketball. Not solid basketball, meaning like they obviously they have trouble putting the ball in the hoop, but they're a grit and grind team. They win games the hard way, which I think you could say. So I think +2 could be a play here as well, but I think the under is a solid play just because Arizona State's going to grind out the basketball. They're grind out offensive possessions and make California just take ugly shots at the end of the shot clock, I think.
Yeah, unders in Pac-12 games always give me a queasy stomach anyway, because Pac-12 officials, if you just look every year, the fouls that are called in a Pac-12 game compared to every other conference is just ridiculous. So I know there's going to be a lot of fouls in this game. There's probably going to be anywhere from 25 to 35 free throws. So that kind of makes me a little nervous too. But ultimately, I think both of these teams shooting wise just aren't that strong right now. So I think the under will get there. I mean, if we get an overtime game, which, ASU's been playing close games, that's definitely a possibility here. But I think it'll be low enough scoring that even if it goes to overtime, we might still have a shot at it. So I'm going to play the under.
Yeah, and you said overtime. Like, look at Marquette and Creighton yesterday. I mean, 2 overtimes and they still don't reach the total. So it's definitely a possibility where, overtime and these type of matchups where they're conference games, grit and grind, both teams aren't great on offense. Even if Arizona State wins, the total could still stay under with a 60-56 type of close game win. So I think the under is a great play here. I'm leaning towards taking the under as well. UCF travels to SMU, one of my games today. UCF coming off a huge game for this team against Michigan. Just went on a roll the last like 5 minutes of that game. Coming into SMU, high on their horse, whole bunch of motivation for this game. I like the over here at 145.5. Just I think it's, like you said, it's gonna be a close game. Overs are great for close games. SMU's 5-3 at home to the over, 9-3 as a favorite this year. They scored 70 plus in 12 of their 13 games, and they scored 70 plus in all of their 8 home games. UCF 3-1 to the over on the road, 3-1 to the over as a dog. They just put up 85 at Michigan, like I said, and have scored 70 plus in 4 of the last 5 games. So I think obviously SMU's going to put up points today, it's a given. So I think if UCF wants to stay in this game like they should, they're going to have to stick with that team and put up points as well.
Yep. I looked at this game. I like this UCF team. I really do. But SMU at home is a tougher team. So both of these teams, it's another game, like the VMI Furman game. I think you're going to get a lot of possessions, a lot of shots. The overs definitely, and you're going to have a close game. So, you get that free throw, foul free throw overtime scenario that you're always looking for in an overplay.
Yep.
So that should come into play here. I'm doing nothing on this game. I think the line's just about right. I look for SMU to win probably a close game, by 2 or 3 points late. But yeah, this will be a fun game to watch. Both of these teams have March Madness potential here.
Oh yeah. Next game, Drake at Missouri State. Missouri State 4-point favorites head in today's game. Over on the sitting at 138. I know it's one of your games today, Coach.
Yeah, this Drake team last year was a team that I loved early in the season, and they, and then they got some injuries. They stumbled a little bit down the stretch there because they were one of my darlings. I was looking forward to play them in the tournament last year, but this year they haven't really gelled. They're all everything. Penn, he's been out. I think I don't think he's coming back. And now Hemphill's gone, one of their best defenders and creators. He's gone. And this Missouri State team, I know this is a rivalry game. So, this game's probably going to be close for a little while. But I think Missouri State's deep. I haven't seen anything COVID-wise on either team for Missouri State. I think they're going to be healthy and ready to go here. So I like Missouri State to cover this number. I think they pull away late. I think they get this game, by 8 to 10. Drake is just struggling, and without 2 of their best offensive creators and Hemphill and Penn, they're just not the same team. They've got enough talent that it doesn't shock me if they win this game, but being a rivalry game and Missouri State's playing some really good basketball, I like Missouri State at home here to cover this number.
Yeah, like you said, Drake last year was a covering machine. Drake last year, it's kind of like Monmouth this year. They covered a lot of games. And they went in the tournament pretty hot and ended up not doing too well in the tournament. But yeah, with their 2 top offensive creators out, Missouri State at home in a rivalry game should take care of business here. I don't know too much about either of these teams. I'm not a Missouri Valley Conference type of guy. But like you said, if those 2 guys for Drake are out, Missouri State should take care of business here pretty easily. My next game, Ohio State -9 travels to Nebraska. Ohio State in past games against Nebraska have just whooped ass. They've won the last 5 games straight up. They beat the Nebraska at home in Columbus 90-55 last game they played. Obviously Nebraska not really much offensively. They have 2 guys who score the ball. Nebraska's 1-4 against the spread as an underdog. 4-6 ATS at home with losses to Western Illinois, Kansas State, and Creighton. Have lost 5 straight games to Ohio State, like I said, including the last game. When playing better competition, as I say, they're allowing 86.5 points per game, not covering any of those ball games. And then Ohio State on the other side, since losing to Xavier on the road, They're 5-1, including winning their last 4 against solid teams in Duke, at Penn State, Towson, and Wisconsin, winning those last 4 by an average of 11.5 points. I just think this is like a Villanova game yesterday. I think this is where Ohio State takes control of their destiny and starts going all over the roll here.
Yeah, and you said it with Nebraska. They're just not getting off to good starts in games. They're getting behind early. McGowan's and Verge is basically their offense. Verge was an Arizona State guy. He was a poison pill here. That team last year was a disaster, mostly because Verge was, Verge is like a Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's not a triple double guy, but he's a Russell Westbrook type player where, he can get his own shot. And he's a scoring machine. He's a really good offensive player, but there's just never any flow to any of the teams that he plays on. I mean, you look at all the teams, you look at his history, and those teams struggle. So you got McGowan's and Verge. I'm pretty sure Ohio State could figure out how to slow those guys down. And Nebraska's defense has just been wretched this year. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State should roll. I'm probably going to be on Ohio State in this game myself. Again, I'm the people that follow me on my Twitter handle, and I'm, like I said, I'm a high volume guy, but I put a tweet out yesterday. I'm going to have to adjust a little bit because I'm getting burnt too much right now with COVID and stuff like that. So I'm not making a lot of early bets because that was part of my system. I'd get lines that I thought I was, getting the best number, and I'd make early bets, and lines are moving the opposite way, and then I'm finding out that there's reasons that. Yeah. So I just can't do that anymore. I've got to. It's just hurting me too much right now. So I've got to slow down a little bit. And but yeah, I like going back to this game. I like Ohio State. It wouldn't shock me if they don't win this by 20 plus. Nebraska's just no good this year. Yeah. Just not a very good team.
And looking at Ohio State's last couple of games, they just put up they're scoring the ball. E.G. Liddell, one of the best players in the country, is taking control of this offense, and I think they put up 87, 90 points today on this awful Nebraska defense. I see maybe a 90, 72, 75 win here. The problem with Nebraska is if they want to stay in this game, they have to score points. And to be honest, Coach, this could be a huge blowout. This could be a 30-point game because if Nebraska can't put up points with those two guys, Ohio State's not going to stop. They're not going to foot off the gas. They're not going to just let you get back in this game. They have a great offense. Like I said, E.J. Liddell. They're gonna keep on you. This could be a huge blowout. If it's not a 10-point victory, then I'm wrong. But I think this is a 15-point, 20-point blowout, like you said. A pretty easy game for Ohio State. My favorite game of the day, Louisville takes on Georgia Tech at -3, over-under sitting at 136.5. This Georgia Tech team is god-awful. They played some tough competition, but in those games, they just shrunk. For me, this is total fade of Georgia Tech here. Georgia Tech 1-7 against the spread at home, 0-4 against the spread as an underdog, and 0-3 as a home dog. Not much more to say about this game. Until Georgia Tech shows me anything, they can hang with these better ACC teams. I just think Louisville wins by double digits today.
Yeah, and Louisville's been, I mean, not up and down. I mean, they've been pretty good this year, but they're not your normal Louisville team. But they're, they're solid. They're going to be good. But yeah, Georgia Tech is, they're one of the teams I have on my list as a fade. They just haven't been that good this year. Another like a Boston College type team. They just can't score. They have a hard time shooting the basketball. Their offense is slow and bumpy. I've watched them play a couple games, so I would never. I actually stay away from Georgia Tech games, just period. So I don't have anything on this game at all. I'm not playing. I mean, I would lean Louisville definitely in this game at that small of a number. But it being at that small of a number, every time I see lines that kind of don't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, I don't think this number is way off, but then I start to worry about, okay, what's going on with, is there rumblings, is there COVID? Is there, so, I mean, I think I'm just shell shocked and gun shy right now with COVID. So, yeah, I like Louisville to cover this number, but nothing for me in this game.
Okay. My pick of the day is Louisville. What would you say your pick of the day is for today? I know you like Michigan State if everyone's healthy, but if they're not healthy, what else? What's your favorite pick today?
Still Michigan State. I think Northwestern, like I said, they haven't played any competition. I think they only played 5 games in December. and they didn't play a Division I team. I don't think they played a Division I team in over 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So this Michigan State team, they're good and they're deep. I mean, obviously they've got all their guys. I really like this play, but I really like this Michigan State team, and I also like Indiana. Not as much as I like Michigan State, but I also like that Indiana game. I think Indiana is just a better team than Penn State. So those are the 2 games that I'm really kind of focusing on today.
And like I said, Penn State, I mean, at home, they're just, I mean, Indiana's not great on the road, but Penn State's even worse at home. The numbers at home just totally lean towards Indiana, and a pretty easy win today for them. Like I said earlier, parlays today. I know you got one. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's kind of a small slate today, but I've got like a 4-team, all favorites, Michigan State, Missouri State, Indiana, and Iona. I love that. That's plus 365. I love this Iona team. I didn't take them today just because the number's up at 10.5. So I actually still think that they're going to cover that number. They've already played Marist this year, beat them by 7. Marist shot out of their mind at home in that game. So this Iona team is in this division is just the roster that Pitino's put together is really. I would be shocked if they lose a game in conference this year. I'm sure they will. I'm sure there's going to be that off night. But yeah, I'm going to throw them in this parlay here. Iona, Indiana, Missouri State, and Michigan State plus 365.
Awesome. I got one not as much juice, meaning plus money. But this one should hit pretty easy, in my opinion, too. I don't see what team loses here. You got UNC on the money line. You got Iona, Coach said, on the money line. You got Houston taking on an awful Temple team. And then we got Ohio State, who should take care of business pretty easily against this Nebraska team. That's plus 107. I think that's great value for those 4 teams, 4 pretty easy wins, I think, in conference play. So to recap, right, we got Scoj with his pick of the day in Michigan State by 2. I got my game, UNC, Boston College, won the early game today, under 139. By the half, by the full point, make it 140 if you need to. Dartmouth at Cornell, I got Cornell minus 4.5. I play it up to 5.5, 6. Scoj's game today, Arizona State at California. He's at the under of 126. UCF at SMU, I think it's going to just be a high scoring game. I could reach 160 today, I think. So over 145, played it all the way up to 147. Next game, Drake at Missouri State. Like Coach said, Drake's losing or not playing their top 2 scoring potential guys. So Missouri State -4, probably up to -6, -5.5. And then Ohio State -9. I played it up to -11, -12 here. I think at 15-point victories in order for this game. And then my pick of the day is Louisville -3. I played up to -5 probably. I just think Louisville boat races Georgia Tech today. Like I said, if Georgia Tech surprised me and they play good at home today, so be it. But until they show me anything at home or basically as a team, taking the other side. And then our 2 parlays, Scoj got a plus 300 parlay with Iona. Iona, Michigan State. What are the 2 games?
Missouri. Yeah, Iona, Michigan State, Indiana, Missouri State.
Plus over 300 odds. And then mine was, of course, UNC, Iona, Houston, Ohio State, 4 legs for plus 107. Obviously, guys, please bet responsibly. Look into these games before you bet them, too. A lot can change in the next hour, 2 hours of these games with COVID or just straight up injury. So do your research before you place your money down. And Scoj, anything else for today's slate?
Nope. Let's see if the Cardinals can get their asses kicked by the Cowboys again today. What a bunch of frauds my Cardinals are, man. They got off to a great start, but they're one and done. It was a good season, but I think they're one and done. They're not going to go very far in the playoffs this year. So got to put my fantasy football lineups together now.
Awesome. You guys have a great Sunday, watching football, watching basketball, chill out for the work week. And I'll be back tomorrow with some college basketball free plays.